Well, all of these things, as you say, do reach a tipping point. The power of secularism and the power of Islam, their influence, I think, both have the same root. They copy Christianity but with key differences, and it's their similarity to Christian truth that gives them their cultural force. So secularism was really an attempt to strip, to maintain the liberties, freedoms, institutional life, the prosperity of free markets of a Christian order, the branches without the root. In some respects, Marxism is a secular eschatology. It posits a utopian future by the creative work of man, and so it strips out. It keeps onto this idea of it holds onto this idea of progress in history, but it strips the Christ out of it and strips the Word of God out of it. Secularism has really sought to do that. It wanted to maintain the fruits. It didn't want the root. Now, Islam, again, is apes Christianity. It's a counterfeit, but it has certain similarities, and that gives it its sense of cultural force. But because of the nature and character of Islam, the seeds of its own destruction are built into it. You're seeing even in the West now, the Muslims having great difficulty retaining their own children in the faith in the Western context. You have a place like Iran where you have huge levels of conversion to Christianity, and the Ayatollah needs to keep his foot on the necks of the people. And that is similar throughout much of the Islamic world, which has been for a long time in a state of decay. So I'm not sure, when you look at it, Islam is definitely a major threat. Whether it's a greater threat than a sort of revival of paganism, which is a sort of, and I would include secularism in that. Secularism is a form of paganism, and it's becoming more and more spiritualized. They're both significant. They're both significant threats. That neither are going anywhere soon. Both are totalitarian in their outlook, in terms of their view of the state. Both are concerned to deny certain critical freedoms that are fundamental in the Christian view of reality. I think they're both utopian too. Secularism does believe in man building his own future, his own prosperous future without God, and believes that right now in our current secular moment, we believe that by a grand leveling, a utopia, even if we don't use the term, a kind of utopia is going to emerge. Islam, likewise, in the Ummah, the world Islam, that through the imposition of Sharia, a kind of utopian order is going to emerge through world Islam. So they bear similarities to one another. Their cultural strength is in their aping of Christianity, but there's always a tipping point. And I think that it's very difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, you've kind of wrestled with that question right there. It's difficult to say when we'll reach that point where we're going over the edge and people start to, by the grace of God, begin to look back with some sense of longing and yearning to a Christian past, and God, by his grace, begins to pour out his Spirit. Is it 20 years? Is it 50 years? Is it 100 years? We don't know. The Lord knows. But in the meantime, facing down those giants, those dragons, as you say, is a greater priority than dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's of a very tidy theology.
Right.